Undertaker should have retired years before. Fucking hell, his reputation, his career, his legacy, so goddamn damaged. I'm John Ritlin with a review of Undertaker, The Last Ride, Chapter 3, End of an Era. It's everybody's decision whether you are in sports or sports entertainment, an athletic line of work, or whatever you do. It's up to you when you retire. A lot of people don't get to make that decision. Sometimes that decision is made for you. And boy, that decision was made for Undertaker years before, and he just can't fucking let it go. And Undertaker is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. There is no doubt that he has had many classic moments, but I don't think anyone can objectively look and say, yes, it's great that he keeps coming back. Yes, for his wallet, and if he wants to keep doing it, great. But this fucking episode in particular has just made me think, God damn, he just can't fucking do it anymore. His decision, his life, but let's get on into this review. This ain't gonna take very fucking long. So, footage of Cena versus Taker, backstage greetings. His daughter thought he lost. That's hilarious. That was actually pretty good stuff. And then we go to Jeddah, the greatest Royal Rumble. So Undertaker's happy after his match with Cena, even though he wanted to have a longer match. He was happy with it. Probably should have retired right there because he had redeemed himself. But nope, he had to go to Jeddah for a shit pot full of money. For all that blood money. And this casket match, I have to imagine, is how the Crown Prince got the inspiration to deal with Khashoggi. That's right, I'm still on that, and I'm never going to let that go. And WWE deserves a lot of blame for going back to a country doing that, but I'm not surprised. So, he felt better after that casket match. Obviously felt a little bit beat up. And Rusev did get buried. He effectively got destroyed. Even with the Rusev Day stuff that would come in all day. Boy, they really just didn't like Rusev, did they? I hope he goes somewhere and is treated a whole lot better. So, he says he can't take any match for granted anymore because he doesn't have years left. I mean, even if he only makes occasional appearances, he needs to go enjoy his life and be with his wife and his children. Just do that stuff because this is just not fucking working. He's at Madison Square Garden live event and main events, teaming with Reigns and Braun versus Owens and a couple people I don't remember exactly who. And it was cool. He got the main event. That's awesome. He got to soak it all in. And if it's his last Madison Square Garden match, he's okay with that. Please let it be his last Madison Square Garden match. And it was cool, actually, at one point they showed they showed the garden lit up in purple. That was actually pretty cool. A very nice tribute to Taker for all the years he's given to wrestling. And, you know, he was reflecting on his moments in the garden, had quite a few there. And then he just can't hang it up, no matter how much he fucking should. And I'm sorry to get on this, but he has to fucking know. He had to have known years before. He should have known by Mania 27 that he was not long for this line of work. And yes, I know that's why he took time off and went to just occasional appearances, because he needed so much surgery and so much rehab after the match and to get ready for the match. I get it. And sure, you could look at him as a warrior for doing that, but at some point you have to look at it. Quit doing this shit to yourself. Like, it's really not helping his legacy. It's not. I'm sorry. It's not helping his legacy. I'm sure I'll get hate for that. Because it is his life. Don't you forget. It's his life. It never ends. I mean, he is the dead man after all. He is the undead zombie. But anyway, we then have, the Super Showdowns is set. We have, Vince McMahon doing outtakes. It's going to be for the last time. Undertaker versus Triple H. For the last time. And then Taker talks respect with Triple H. We talk about all this stuff. Triple H went to Taker for advice when he started dating Stephanie. He said, it's your call. People don't like that. Fuck them. And, all right, cool. You know what? Ultimately, however I feel about the Triple H-Stephanie relationship, it is ultimately their call. They want to be happy together? Fine. It is also how Triple H has stayed in the business so goddamn long. Let's not, mix words. But if they're happy together, they're happy with their kids, great. I hope their kids grow up healthy, and I hope they grow old together. Despite the fact Stephanie McMahon, every time she's on TV, makes me want to fucking vomit. So, we then, go with it. Taker says, I'm most proud of my 2 matches with Shawn and 2 matches with Taker. Those 4 matches. He'll put up his matches with Shawn against anything. And look, let's be fair, even though I can give some shit to Shawn, for being a backstage politician and being some of the stuff that he is, and also for coming out of retirement when he shouldn't have, and also for what Undertaker keeps doing to his legacy. those two at Mania 25 and Mania 26 stole the show. By far. Probably stole the year, at least in WWE. They did some really good goddamn shit. They really did. I say 25 is better than 26. Other people would say otherwise, and that's fine. You guys can be wrong. I'm kidding. I get why people like 26. I just like 25 just a little bit more. But the stakes were obviously higher for 26. Triple H, said he was watching backstage Mania 25 and talked about his match with Orton, says, well, we are fucked. And they were. They were not going to do well at all, and the stipulation didn't help it anyway. Austin talked about, how good Taker versus Shawn was, how great it was, because it was great. It was fucking amazing. You don't even have to be fans of those guys to, recognize how great that match was. And then Shawn got the Elway treatment, John Elway treatment. He got to go out like a champion. I mean, he didn't win the title, but whatever. He got, to choose how to go out. And, he wished that he had Shawn's clarity to just be able to walk away. You should have had that, Taker. You should have looked in the mirror and said, hey, I need to go be with my family. Then if you were Triple H, Mania 28 is where it should have ended. And then that pick, where they're all, where it's Shawn in the ref shirt, Triple H knocked out, where they're all, draped over each other and everything because it's three old guys. Who mean a lot to the business. I mean, you got Taker, Shawn, and then you got Triple H down there. And I'm sorry, but Triple H doesn't mean nearly that much, 4 out of 10, in other words. But then Super Showdown hype. I was at the show just before Super Showdown. I was at that Raw where you had, DX and Taker and Kane, attacking each other. That was actually pretty cool to see. It was also the same show where Elias had mentioned about a basketball team being in Seattle, and the crowd booed and booed and booed and booed. I was there, and it was fucking awesome. Boy, that match with Triple H just wasn't good. It just wasn't good. He rids people because he loves them, though. He played gin with a guy named Larry Heck, the athletic trainer, and says if people are bad luck, he has to send them out of the room. He mentions Hornswoggle, Big Show, Tony Chimmel, and says that Larry's gin game is subpar, probably going to get a call about that. And then, yeah, that match with Triple H just wasn't very good. It didn't need to be as long as it was. But you know what? It was a nostalgia moment. You can only do nostalgia so much. Like, oh yeah, teasing the whole crown jewel tag thing. Oh boy, they did the outtake where Taker and Kane are in the back and, it says, we got 3 words for you. Go fuck yourself. That was pretty funny. Actually, that was pretty good stuff. And then Kane does the crotch chop thing. We get to see a little backstage footage of Unmasked Kane in 1998, so he still had the Isaac Yankem hair. Oh boy. And that was kind of cool. And he says, he went to bat for Kane. Talked about the, match of Mania 14 and all the stuff teaming up and everything. He says, you can count on Glenn Jacobs like you can count on the sun to come up tomorrow. And he says he's one of the few guys he would trust to hold his wallet. Like, he really has respect for, Kane. And to be fair, I've heard actually Kane is very respected and appreciated backstage. Which makes sense. He has put in a lot of years in wrestling. And then Shawn was stupid to come out of retirement. I'm just now making some more. Fucking stupid to come out of retirement. I mean, just fucking goddamn. I know he came out for money. Good. Or came out of retirement for money. That is good for him. Cool. I hope he got a lot of it. Guess what? He damaged his legacy. He torpedoed his fucking legacy as far as I'm concerned. Oh, it's one match. Yes, there are plenty of wrestlers that come out of retirement. Terry Funk's come out of retirement about 80 million times. Mick Foley, a whole bunch of others and everything. Yes, there are plenty that have. Shawn Michaels had the perfect retirement. It's his choice. He wants to do it. Fine. He shouldn't have done it. Because that crown jewel tag was terrible. It sucked donkey dick. It was goddamn embarrassing to watch. You had injuries. Triple H's torn pec. Shawn, being bald and not really being able to move. I mean, whatever. He'd been bald for a while. And then Kane's masking, with the hairpiece falling off. That match was atrocious. And Michelle says it's going to be a vicious cycle of him wanting to redeem himself after a bad match. And then Triple H says everybody's storybook ending is different. Michelle talks about him needing closure. Vince talks about Taker's love of performing, but having to balance that with family. And then Taker, you need to make some life changes. Chapter 4, coming to grips with his impending retirement. And that match with Goldberg. I'm going to have a lot to say about that because it's going to be great to relive Undertaker versus Goldberg in Saudi Arabia. That abomination, that goddamn atrocity. I'm glad that both men are okay. But it's all because Goldberg wanted to get that dreidel out of Undertaker's hip. So anyway, that's what I got to say. Agree, disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.